Good morning. I am Jose Anand, serving as Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering of Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Today I am going to explain about Introduction to Engineering Mechanics and the Basics Laws of Mechanics. This topic comes under the subject Engineering Mechanics, whose course code is U20MEET01. Okay. First, we'll start with what is meant by mechanics. The branch of science which deals with the forces and the effect of forces acting on a body is known as a mechanics. For example, you see in the diagram, two persons are pushing a trolley. Because of that, since these two persons are applying a force in the first diagram, the trolley begins to move. So effect of force in this case is causing motion. You see in the second diagram, two persons are applying force on a body in the opposite direction. Assuming that they are applying equal and opposite forces, then the body will be in a static condition. The body will not move in this case. Okay. In the third diagram, you see, I am taking a hammer and applying an impact force on a body. When I am applying heavy impact force, this body may undergo failure. So, effect of force is here causing failure. So, there are different effect of forces are available. Okay. So, effect of force may cause motion as shown in the first diagram. The effect of force may cause particularly when two equal and opposite forces are applied, then the effect of force may be keep the body in rest condition, or in some cases when you are applying impact forces, the body may undergo failure. This branch of science dealing with the forces and the effect of forces on different body is known as mechanics. The effect of force on body may cause motion of the body or failure of the body. The system or group of forces may also keep a body in static state. Okay. Now we'll discuss what is meant by rigid body and deformable body. See, the stronger body which does not undergo any change in shape while applying a force is known as rigid body. In case of rigid body, these are stronger body that does not undergo any change in shape while applying force. Okay, so that you mark any 2 points on a rigid body before applying force itself. Then you apply a heavy force, but no change in shape will be there. Then distance between the points you already marked, if you measure, no. For example, before applying force, if the distance is 10 centimeter, after applying force also the distance between the marked points remains same, because no change in shape is there, no elongations are produced. Such a body which does not undergo any deformation or which does not undergo any change in shape during application of force is known as rigid body. The distance between any two given points on a rigid body remain constant before and applying force in a rigid body. Next, if you take what is meant by deformable body, see here. Now, if you take a rubber like a body and you apply some tensile force, let us consider, then the body undergo elongation, that is change, its shape is changed. Okay, so these bodies are known as deformable body, which undergo change in length or change in shape during application of force. These rubber-like bodies are called deformable body. So in deformable body, before applying a force, if you mark 2 points, any 2 points and measure its distance, let us consider it is 10 centimeters. Then while you are applying the force, the elongation takes place, the distance between the points also increases. While applying force, you measure the distance between the 2 points you already marked, then distance might be now 15 centimeters like that. This distance might have changed. This solid body which deforms or which undergo change in shape during application of force is known as deformable body. The distance between any two given points on a deformable body changes. during application of force. Okay. In engineering mechanics, we are going to consider only the rigid body. We are not going to discuss about a deformed body. Okay. So, even though there are in generally mechanics means it's a branch of science which is going to study about the effect of force on different body. Okay. So there are different kind of effect of forces there, but when you restrict our study to rigid bodies and as well as effect of force in causing motion state or effect of force in causing rest state, then that particular branch of mechanics we are calling it as a engineering mechanics. Okay. So let me read the definition. The branch of mechanics dealing with forces and the effect of forces on rigid body in causing motion state or static state for engineering application is known as engineering mechanics. This engineering mechanics is subdivided into two main categories, that is statics and dynamics. The dynamics may be further subdivided into kinematics and kinetics. Okay. Let us discuss about these branches of engineering mechanics. Okay. The, the main branches of engineering mechanics are statics and dynamics. Statics means the branch of engineering mechanics which deals with the rigid body at rest condition during the system of forces acting on the body is known as statics. Dynamics means the branch of engineering mechanics which deals with the rigid body in motion during the system of forces acting on it is known as dynamics. Okay. As we know, dynamics means we are going to study about motion of the body. Okay. Now this dynamics is further subdivided into two categories as kinematics and kinetics. What are these two categories? Let us see. In case of kinematics, you are going to study about only the motion characteristics. How that motion is produced, what force is causing the motion, you are not going to take into account. You are simply going to study about what is velocity of the moving body, what is the acceleration of the moving body, how much distance the given car can able to cover in a given time. Like that we are going to discuss. This branch of dynamics which deals with the motion characteristics such as velocity, acceleration, distance traveled, etc. without considering the forces which cause motion is known as kinematics. Whereas in case of kinetics, you are going to study the motion as well as how that motion is caused. How much force is required to cause a particular kind of motion, we are going to connect. Okay. Suppose if one cycle is moving with 10 km per hour speed, to cause the 10 km per speed motion of the cycle, how much pedaling force is to be applied? Say for example, some around 1500 Newton pedaling force may be required to cause the motion of the cyclist. In this way, linking the motion characteristics with the force required for caution, force required to cause the motion is known as kinetics. Okay. Okay. Now we will discuss about what do you mean by coplanar forces and the non-coplanar forces. See, I am in the diagram. I am showing these two kind of sketches. In the left hand side, I am showing the coplanar force. In the right hand side, non-coplanar forces I am showing. In the left hand side, now I have shown you one green color vertical plane only. On that green color vertical plane, three forces I have marked: F1, F2, F3. They are lying on the same plane. These kind of system of forces which are lying on same plane is known as coplanar force system. Whereas in the right hand side diagram, you can see there are two planes are there. One is vertical plane and another is horizontal plane. The force F1 is acting in the vertical plane, whereas the force F2 is acting in the horizontal plane. The forces are acting in different plane. The system of forces which are lying on different plane are known as non-coplanar forces. Now we will discuss what is meant by concurrent forces. Okay, so in the diagram I am showing the two sketches. In the first sketch, left hand side sketch, you can see the forces are originating from a common point O. F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, five forces are there. They are originating from a common point. In the right hand side, there are three forces which, when produced, meet at a common point, intersect at a common point. These kind of forces which originate from a common point, or this kind of system of forces which intersect at a common point, are known as concurrent force system. Okay, let us discuss about resultant force. What is meant by resultant force? By definition, a single force which can produce same effort as that of net combined effort produced by a group of forces is known as resultant force. For example, let us see in the diagram. I am showing a force of 5000 Newton acting in the eastern direction, right side direction. Okay. So a force of green colorly, I am showing one force 3500 Newton is acting around the vertical direction, and another orange color force I am showing with a magnitude of 3000 Newton, which is almost acting left upward direction. And the fourth force F equal to 1000 Newton is acting in the downward direction. These forces are acting on a ball. Let us consider four forces are acting on a ball. For example, okay, because of the combined effect of these four forces, the ball moves approximately in the northeast direction, as shown by the dotted maroon color dotted line. It starts to move in this direction with a particular acceleration, so that it crosses a distance of say some 20 meter within 2 seconds, like that. Okay. Now the combined effect of these, there are four forces active of different magnitude acting on a football. Let us consider the effect of the combined effect of these four forces are causing a particular kind of motion along the northeast direction, as shown in the maroon color dotted line, so that the ball can reaches a distance of approximately 20 meters in 2 seconds, like that. Okay. Now instead of applying these four forces using a single force, for example, you are using a 7000 Newton single force and applied in the same direction as that of motion of the ball. Now in the approximately in the northeast direction, if you apply 7000 Newton, then also the football can be made to move to the same direction with the same kind of motion, so that approximately it can travel a distance of 20 meters in 2 seconds in the particular directions. Okay, it travels with a particular same kind of motion is achieved by using a single force also. Now four forces together causes one effect on the football, whereas a single force also causes same effect on the football. This single force which causes the same effect as that effort done by combined effect of group of forces is known as resultant force. Okay, so we'll take another example. For example, let us consider a boat, larger boat is got struck upon a sea. Now it is to be pulled to the seashore. For pulling it, one middle-sized boat and one small-sized boat are coming for the rescue operation using some ropes and all. They are applying a force. For example, that middle-sized boat applying as a 1000 Newton force in the west direction, and small bolt apply a force of approximately 500 Newton in the south direction. Because of the combined effect of forces applied by these two boats, the larger white color boat starts to move in the southwest direction. It is not going towards west direction or not going towards south direction. The combined effect of these two forces are causing motion on the larger boat to move in the southwest direction. Okay. So two forces, the collective effect of two forces applied from a medium-sized boat and a small-sized boat, act in the combined effect of these two forces act due to this combined effect of these two forces, that a large boat is coming in the large boat is coming in the southwest direction. Okay. Now, instead of using two boats, suppose if you have some bigger boat itself. Suppose if you have a bigger boat itself, and that if you connect that bigger boat, and if that bigger boat, after connecting with the struck up boat, pulls the boat in the southwest direction by applying only 1300 Newton force itself. Let us consider. Now, earlier you applied two forces. For example, earlier example, you applied a 1000 Newton force from a medium sized boat and 500 Newton force from a small sized boat. Okay. And hence you pull the large boat to seashore in the southwest direction. Okay. Now, instead of applying two force, if you apply a single force, for example, say 1300 Newton in the southwest direction, then also the single force also can move the larger boat to seashore. Okay. Now, the single force is almost doing the same effort as the done by the combined effect of two forces. Okay. Now, the single force, which does the same effect as that of combined effect done by two forces, is known as resultant force. Okay. Now we can take, for example, a force applied by one boat can be taken as P, force applied by another boat can be taken as Q. The combined effect of these two forces lies in between them as resultant force. If you apply a resultant force with less effort, you can single force itself can pull the body to the seashore operation. Okay. Okay. Now we have a law called parallel law forces, which is predicting the method of calculating the resultant force. Whenever two forces are acting simultaneously on a particle, how to find the magnitude of resultant force? For that, this parallel law force is giving a statement. I will read that. Let us see. If two forces acting simultaneously on a particle be represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, the resultant may be represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram, which passes through the point of intersection. See here. So this parallel law force only I am explaining through a diagram. Let us consider there are two forces. One force is P, represented as a P. For example, 1000 Newton like that. Another force is Q. I am representing another force. For example, 500 Newton like that. These two are acting at a point. I want to replace these two forces by a resultant force. Okay, what is the magnitude of resultant force I want to find? For that, according to parallel law, what it says is, by taking the P as one adjacent side and by taking the another force as another adjacent side, you have to draw one parallelogram. For example, if P is 1000 Newton, so for example, you take a suitable scale and they represent P as a 1000 mm line like that in the same direction. If P is acting in the east direction, you mark the P in the eastern direction with the scale 1000 mm like that. Then then from the starting point, you mark the Q force also in the same direction. Q force is 500 Newton, means approximately 500 mm length you take along the direction of Q. Now, You have marked P and Q on the graph sheet. Then you complete a parallelogram. Then after completing the parallelogram, now you measure the diagonal of this parallelogram. From the point of intersection of two forces, you will draw diagonal and measure the length of the diagonal. For example, length of diagonal may be 1300 mm. In that case, resultant force is said to be 1300 Newton. So this force is P is 1000 Newton and the Q is 500 Newton. The resultant force is only 1300 Newton. How I calculated? By drawing a parallelogram by taking these two sides of the parallelogram as a two adjacent forces, two forces. Then I am measuring I am forming a parallelogram and I am measuring the length of the diagonal of the parallelogram. Then length of diagonal of the parallelogram is a measure of resultant force. Okay. There is also an analytical formula is also available for finding the resultant force. Okay. For example, if you represent the force P as one force and Q as another force, angle between them you can let us consider as a theta. Then you substitute in the, if you want to find the magnitude of resultant force, you substitute in this formula R equal to square root of P square plus Q square 2pq cos theta. Similarly, if you want to find the angle made by resultant force with the first force, you can use the formula alpha. Alpha represent angle made by resultant force with the first force. Alpha equal to tan inverse of Q by sin theta plus P plus Q cos theta. Good. Now let us discuss about a problem based on the parallel law forces. Two concurrent forces of magnitude 12 Newton and 18 Newton act with the included angle of 60 degree. Find the resultant force of these two forces. Also find the angle made by resultant of these two forces with the force 12 Newton. Okay. There are two forces are given. You take first force as a P equal to 12 Newton and second force as Q equal to 18 Newton as shown in the leftmost diagram. There are the angle between the included angle between these two forces are given as 60 degree. Now if you draw graphical method means you have to draw by taking these two as adjacent side and you have to draw a parallelogram and then you have to measure the length of diagonal passing through the point of intersection of this force. Then that will give you magnitude of resultant force. Instead of that, if you use analytical method, you can use the direct formula. That is R, we are given resultant force. To find magnitude of resultant force, we have discussed one formula. To find inclination, angle made by resultant force with the first force, we are given one formula. Simply substitute the value of P, Q and P. First force you have taken as P. For example, P in this case is 12 Newton. Q in this case is 80 Newton. The angle between them is 60 degrees. Okay. Simply substitute in the formula for resultant force. R equal to P root of P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta. Substituting the value of P and Q and theta in this formula, you are getting the value of resultant force as 26.15 Newton. Okay. Similarly, you can find the angle of inclination made by resultant force with the first force 12 Newton. For that formula, direct substitution in the formula tan inverse of Q sin theta divided by P plus Q cos theta equal to tan inverse of 18 sin 60 divided by 12 18 cos 60. You are getting angle as 36 degree 34 minutes. Okay. Next, so we have just now discussed the parallel law of forces, and next we will discuss the triangle law of forces. Okay, triangle law of forces is also another method of finding the resultant force. Okay, for example, so in case of triangle law of forces, what it says is, if again when I want to find the resultant force of two forces P and Q which is acting simultaneously on a point O, then in case of triangle law of forces, what you have to do, you have to draw the force P in the same direction as one line. Then at the end of the line, you have to draw fresh line parallel to direction of force Q. So you by second side of the triangle also you will get. Then from the closing point of Q, you connect the you join with the starting point O again. Now that you will get you will get one line. That line will that is line is the closing side of the triangle. If you measure the um, magnitude of that line, that will give you resultant force. Okay. Direction that will give magnitude of resultant force. Length of third line, that is closing side length of the triangle, will give you magnitude of resultant force. But direction of resultant force will be acting in the opposite direction of closing side. That is what I am showing the third diagram. Same parallel to line, I am drawing one more line. Parallel to closing side of the triangle, I have drawn one more line, and there I am showing the resultant force, direction of resultant force. Now let us look into the statement of triangle law of forces. If two forces acting at a point are represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order, then closing side of triangle taken in order represent resultant of forces in magnitude and direction. Okay. Now let us discuss polygon law of forces. See here, that both parallel law of forces and the triangle law of forces was helpful in finding the resultant of two force system only. Whereas when lot of forces are acting in a same point, combinedly when lot of forces are acting at a particular point, then the resultant will be found by using a theorem called polygon law of forces. For example, how to use that? This polygon law of forces is a graphical method. It gives idea regarding the graphical method. So, for example, in this diagram, there are five forces are acting in the different direction. Force 1, red color I am showing. Force 2, green color I am showing. It is in vertically upward direction. Force 3, left hand side it is acting, and F4, F5 are acting in the different direction. They have different magnitude. Okay, five force system I have taken. Okay, I want to find the magnitude of resultant force, and also I want to find direction of resultant force. Okay, for that what I am going to do, by taking the each forces as one side of the polygon, I am going to construct. For example, F1 force is going in the east direction. Same direction you draw one line. The magnitude of line should be equal to magnitude of force. Then at the end of the line drawn, then you draw fresh line parallel to F2 direction. Length of F2 you are drawing, no, that should be equal to the length magnitude of force. Then at the end of F2 line, you draw one new line parallel to F3 direction, force 3 direction, and the length of the line should be equal to the magnitude. Length in scale, it should represent magnitude of F3. Then at the end of F3 line, fourth force F4 is acting downward. So line parallel to fourth force you have to draw F4. Parallel to F4 force direction, I am drawing the fourth force. Then fifth force, at the end of fourth force line, I have to construct a line parallel to the direction of fifth force, and the length of that line should be proportional to the magnitude of fifth force. Then I am getting a close one. All five forces I have represented now. Then at the end of fifth force line, last point I got, you connect that last point to the first point, starting point O. Now you measure the length of that. Now you got last line. I am representing as a black color dotted line. That is called closing side of the polygon. Okay, so if you measure the magnitude of that line, then that will be proportional to the magnitude of resultant force. Direction of resultant force will lie in the opposite direction of closing side. That is what I am showing in the right side diagram. Right side diagram, I am showing the magnitude of resultant force, but in the opposite direction. Now let us see the statement of Polygon law of forces. The Polygon law of forces states that if any number of coplanar concurrent forces can be represented in magnitude and direction by the sides of polygon taken in order, then the resultant will be represented by the closing side of the polygon taken in opposite order. Okay. Now, we will discuss about principle of transmissibility of forces. What is meant by that? See, in the example, I am showing two diagrams. You see here, first force I am applying first on a blue color body. I am applying a force 100 Newton from the back side, and I am extending the line of action of the force. Then, because of this force applied from the back side, 100 Newton, the body gets some kind of motion. Let us consider. Next, same kind of motion can also be obtained if you apply same 100 Newton along the front side, along the same line of application of force. If you extend it, and at the front side if you attach also, now you also will get same. Now also you will get same kind of motion. Okay, so only thing, I have shifted the point of application. I have shifted the point of application along the same line of application. Instead of back side applying force, I applied at the front side on the along the same line. Then also I will get same kind of motion. Similarly, next example also, one orange color body is there. One force direction I am showing. At one particular point that force is applied. Now you extend the same force dotted line and change the point of application to another point lying on the same line of action of the force. Then also you will get same kind of motion. Okay. This is called principle of transmissibility of forces. That is, the principle of transmissibility of forces states that effect of forces on a body remains same even though the point of application of force changed along the same line of action of force. Okay, students, thank you very much for your listening. Remaining things will continue in the next class. Thank you all. Thank you very much.